Be honest with me. Do you feel safe? Does your job feel secure? Wait, before you answer.
Following new layoffs at Oracle as notices are going out today. The latest round of layoffs at one of Kansas City's larger employers.
Tonight, we now know the number of Metro Oracle workers laid off.
Media outlets reporting that the cloud computing company has notified thousands of employees that their jobs are being cut as it seeks to broaden its AI investment.
This past Tuesday, thousands of people woke up to an email at 6 a.m. And by the time they finished reading it, their careers at that company were already over. No warning, no conversation, no call, no nothing. One person had been there for 26 years, and all they got was an email signed by Oracle leadership. Oracle, one of the largest technology companies in the world, cut thousands of employees this week, with some estimates putting that number as high as 30,000 people globally. And I want you to hear this part clearly because it should stop you cold in your tracks. Oracle posted a 95% growth in net income last quarter. They are thriving. They cut those people not because the business was failing, but because AI changed the math on what it costs to run the business. And those roles simply did not fit the new equation. And Oracle is not alone. Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter and CEO of Block, cut 40% of his workforce this year, and then publicly said that most companies are actually late to this trend. In February, there was a PBS NewsHour interview with Harry Hulser, a former chief economist for the Department of Labor, and he describes the current pace of new job creation in an economy of 158 million people as basically nothing. What does that mean? That means no more jobs are being created. Companies are not just cutting people, they are also not replacing them either. The February report just confirmed it, showing the economy shed 92,000 jobs in 1 month, even though economists expected a gain of 59,000 new jobs. You're probably watching this right now and thinking, okay, I need to go and learn AI. And you're absolutely correct. So you open YouTube, you start watching. There's a video about Claude, there's a video about ChatGPT, there's a video about Gemini, vibe coding, using AI to create flyers, automate your email, run your social media, build agents that work while you sleep. And before you know it, you've watched 6 videos, you have 3 tabs open, downloaded 2 tools, and you still haven't accomplished a thing. I bet you're feeling prepared, and I know you're feeling like you're getting ready. You probably feel like you're on top of it right now. Sorry to say, but you're not. And I say that from personal experience because I did the exact same thing. Consuming AI content is not the same as leveraging AI. And the difference between those two things could be the difference between you being the person who sends the 6 a.m. email and being the person who receives it. I spent the first half of my adult life working the front desk and concierge departments of hotels. I was a good worker, a good one, but just a worker. And for years, I craved some type of skill, edge, or leverage that would give me a way forward. And every time I looked up, I was just reminded by the people in power that I was there to do a job, and that was it. The thing I always was naturally good at was technology, computers. I was the nerdy kid who spent way too much time on a computer when everyone else was outside. And for most of my life, that felt like a quirk, not a skill. Nobody cared that I could figure out any system in an hour or that I genuinely loved learning how software worked. I was still just the person at the front desk. Okay, let's fast forward to 2025. AI had evolved beyond something people simply talked about in tech articles and into actual tools reshaping how businesses operated. Naturally, I did what anyone would do. I tried to learn everything at once. There was so much information and it all felt urgent. Every tool felt like it could be the one that changed everything for me. I was constantly consuming, watching, reading, downloading, trying things out, and still I was feeling like I was falling behind because there was always something new to learn. And then it clicked. I stopped trying to learn everything and I went deep on one thing, Claude. I gave it everything. I learned how to prompt it well, how to train it, how to make it actually useful inside real work. And when I finally understood it deeply, something unexpected happened. I realized the principles transferred. The way I learned to think about prompting Claude, the way I understood how to get real output from it, that knowledge applied across different tools. Because the principles do not change. They simply repeat themselves. That is when I stopped feeling overwhelmed. I felt like I finally knew what I was doing. Of course, the amount of information didn't decrease. There's always new information every single day, but I finally had a foundation, and a foundation changes everything. If I was a gambler, I would bet money that you're thinking, okay, I just need to pick one tool and go deep on it. You're close. Closer, much closer than you were 30 seconds ago. But here's what I see every single time I work with a client who's overwhelmed by AI right now. They pick a tool before they understand what they actually need it for. And when you do that, you're still just consuming. Of course, you're consuming less, but you are learning Claude just to learn Claude, instead of learning Claude to solve a specific problem in your specific work. And they are not the same. One builds knowledge and the other builds leverage. And leverage is the only thing that actually protects you. So what does building leverage look like? The first thing I tell every client who comes to me that is overwhelmed by AI is to stop looking at tools entirely for just a moment. Before you learn anything new, do an honest analysis of your life and your work. And I mean honest, not the version where you look at your job description, the version where you look at how you actually spend every single day. Ask yourself this: what do I do every single week that follows a pattern? What tasks do I repeat that look the same every time? What drains my energy without actually requiring my intelligence to complete? Write that down. No, actually write it down. Because until it's on paper, it's just a feeling. Now look at that list and ask yourself one more question. If I could get those tasks done in a fraction of the time, what would I do with the hours I got back? What is the work I actually want to be doing? What is the work that requires my judgment, my relationships, my creativity, my specific knowledge of this industry or this client or this problem? That's the work that only you can do. That is where your leverage lives. Now the tool question becomes simple. You do not need to use every AI tool. You need to know the tool that helps you do less of the first list so that you can do more of the second one. For most people, that starts with Claude. Learn it deeply, learn how to give it context, learn how to make it sound like you, learn how to use it inside the actual task that you identified on that list. That is your starting point, not a YouTube playlist about every tool that exists. One tool in your actual work. I was the hotel worker who had no leverage and no way out. The nerdy kid whose skills did not matter in any room I was in. And what changed was not that I worked harder or that I learned more tools or that I finally got an opportunity from someone in power. What changed was that I stopped trying to learn everything and started building something that was specifically mine. My knowledge of technology combined with my understanding of how businesses operate combined with AI. That is what leverage feels like. And I want that for every single person watching this video right now. The window to build that is wide open, wider than it has ever been, more equal than anything that I've seen in my lifetime. You do not need permission and you do not need a budget. You need to do the analysis, pick your starting point, and go deep. The people who do that in the next 6 months are going to be in a completely different position than the people who are still watching videos about every new tool that drops. I know which one I want to be, and I know which one I want you to be. To be quite honest, this is why I started this channel. I genuinely get sad thinking about the people right now who are talented and hardworking, who are being blindsided by a shift they did not see coming because no one told them in a way they could actually understand. So here's your action this week. Do the analysis. Write down the tasks you do on repeat that do not require your full intelligence. Open Claude and do the task with AI instead of without it. Just one task, one tool, one time. And then come back here and tell me in the comments what happened. I am Bree. It was so nice to have you here with me today. Subscribe to this channel if you are serious about being that person, and I will see you in the next one.